What's up, guys? This is Heist. Today we're playing Railroads Online with my buddy Con. And this time we're actually going to run two separate trains.
This is like the proper scale. Like these people, like how tall would be relative to this engine? Like we're like a 7-foot giant, or?
So apparently the model is apparently 6'2", which is relatively accurate looking. I mean, these are itty bitty little engines, so.
Right.
The fun math that we've done on Montezuma is that my buddy Brett could stare Montezuma in the eyeball of her headlight if he stood on the rail. So that's how small it is. And that's how large he is. He's like 6'7" or 6'8" or something.
Tall guy operating narrow gauge.
Standard gauge man in a narrow gauge world.
Larger than standard gauge man in a narrow gauge world.
Very true. Broad gauge man in a narrow gauge world.
Yeah, broad gauge. There you go. All right, you ready?
Yep.
What's up, guys? My name is Con, and we're back today with more Railroads Online, joined by Heist. How's it going, sir?
Dude,
how are you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. I've been playing with my model train set at home, and it's been very exciting.
Guys, Heist's model rail set, though, he showed me a picture. Okay, it's got 3 rails, cause
Lionel, if you know, you know. It's old school. It's classic. It's what got me into railroading in general. So I've been, experiencing my inner 4-year-olds lying on the floor staring at Lionel trains like I did back when I was a real 4-year-old.
I'm not going to say that my immersion is ruined, but the front of my train is clipping the side of every one of your cars.
I mean, it doesn't look like it on my end.
We're a little close.
We call it a
here.
saw-by in the industry.
What, where you smoke the corner of a train with another train?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
It's fine.
All right. So mission for the day, obviously I've got 2 extra hoppers. We spent some money. I bought some hoppers. We bought more cordwood cars as well. So Heist, because the smelter is dry on both, well, actually, no, it has some iron. Not a lot, but a little bit.
But we want to make money, and the iron's a lot more
we want to make
expensive
money,
per car than the cordwood is, so.
Yeah, exactly.
I supply the iron mine, I supply the smelter, and you you make us money. So
please don't bring the cordwood all the way to the iron mine. That would be a very very large waste of time.
Yes, it would, because Montezuma would not be good for it.
No.
6.5% Montezuma is good for just about 20,000 pounds, which I'm pretty sure is like 1 cordwood car. So
like nothing.
It would be. We've done 8 times up the hill, but we haven't done 9 times up the hill, so let's not, shall we?
I'm in the Glenbrook, so what am I good for? Up 6.5%? What is
Glenbrook is good for 47,789. So just shy of 48,000.
And my cars are 13,000 pounds apiece, so I can do less than 3 of them. Just over 3 of them, 3.5.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to either double it or get the helper going, but we got the goat.
I'll get the class. Yeah, we'll bust out the class 48.
So I guess let me know when you get to the helper station, and I can just teleport there. It'll be great.
Yeah, it's super convenient. You're going to be loading cordwood for the next 5 years. And listen, I want to point this out to viewers before anybody complains. I offered Heist which train to drive. We discussed the objectives, and I said, which would you like to do? Load cordwood for 35 minutes straight, or would you like to drive the train to the helper, to the smelter? And he said he wanted to load cordwood. So don't think that I'm forcing Heist to do all the terrible jobs here.
He's not punishing me for my hubris of derailing the Glenbrook several times last time.
No, absolutely not. He wanted to do the cordwood. So you got that switch set?
I did. I set it for me, but you're gonna have to get it for yourself on the way going the other way.
I actually can't. Like, I don't know if you're full regging it or not, but
I am.
I could catch, like, I'm coasting and catching you. That's how bad
Montezuma and 9 cars, man. I mean, it was 9 cars. I left it in notch 8.
Yeah, she don't move, like, at all.
Yeah,
that's great.
I don't know. I'm just feeling nostalgic for the Montezuma, so I said, hey, I'd like to run that engine today. So that's what I'm doing.
Fair. I'm full throttling a lot of the time. It's kind of interesting. I wanted to talk about this. We discussed it a little bit before, but I'm doing the thing I saw you. So I watched. Guys, Heist has a YouTube channel, which is
I do. It's the craziest thing.
I know it's insane. But he does real life train stuff for like the 5 people who don't know this at this point. And as part of that, I watched your video where you were operating. I don't know what engine you were operating. I honestly didn't pay attention that much, but you were operating the Polar Express.
Yes.
At the museum, and I noticed when you were starting the train, which we never talked about before, but when you were pulling the regulator out to increase the pressure, you actually, first of all, there's a huge delay between when you pull the reg and when you actually hear the pistons chuff. And then the second thing is you actually like jockey the regulator back and forth. So you give it a bunch and then you let it go. You give it a bunch, you let it go. And I clued into it when I was watching the video. It's because you have to fill the line from the regulator to the piston with steam pressure or else the whole thing won't work. So it's like you're slowly filling the line because if you just opened it wide up, you'd like, I guess blow the piston out or something. It would be like this crazy...
Well, so
anyway.
you wouldn't blow the piston out. You could go wide open from absolute dead if you really wanted to, but it's all about trying to mitigate wheel slip. Because more powerful engines, and particularly the engine I was operating in the video, Rio Grande Southern number 20, very slippery locomotive. She's got a lot of tractive effort, but only 6 drivers. I mean, she's got pretty much...
It's a 460 or
460, 10-wheeler. It's almost got triple the power of the Glenbrook.
And it's got blind middle drivers?
Blind middle driver as well, which doesn't affect your traction, but does help go around corners and everything. But when you're starting off, you need to get enough steam going to start firing both cylinders, because a lot of the time you're trying to overcome the inertia of the train and everything, get things rolling, but it can be really, really a top dead center or back dead center. I'm mixing my cars and my trains. Sorry, folks. Front dead center or back dead center event in the actual piston itself will totally kill any momentum you have when you're going that slow. So you kind of need to get up and go so that you're using both sides and getting power out of both cylinders. But at the same time, you don't want to slip, and if slipping will kill any momentum you have. And the interesting thing is you can feel when you're about to slip through the throttle bar. And that's why when you're watching me slam the throttle shut, it's because I'm feeling it try to slip. Because what happens is you end up sending steam down the dry pipe, which is the pipe in the boiler that sends it to the smoke box, and then it gets separated to the pistons. Then you charge all that up with steam, and the steam hits the steam chest where the valves are themselves that admit the steam into the cylinders. And once you hit boiler pressure, so you're sending everything, 130 pounds, whatever it is the engine runs at, to the steam chest. You start stacking that pressure and that flow back up towards the valve again if you're not moving. And then, or if you're moving slowly, etc., you're not exhausting steam yet, that delay that you were talking about. And so you end up pressurizing and back pressuring the valve. And so the engine will try and hand you the throttle bar. They'll try and throw you the bar.
It tries to open the bar because it's feeling this back pressure.
Exactly. And so at that moment...
What's the solution for that, though? Because if the pipe's full of pressure and the valve is not open at the piston, you just have to wait till the wheel rotates further to get the valve open? Because the valve is driven straight by the Johnson bar, right?
Yes.
So if you're all dead center it, then your valve's stuck closed and you fill the pipe with steam pressure. You're dead center, so the wheels aren't moving. You're in a dead center position. The pipe is full of pressure. What can you do?
You open the cylinder cocks and roll backwards and start over.
You open the cylinder cocks to bleed all the pressure out.
Yep.
And then you let... What if you're on a flat surface, you just wouldn't roll at all? So then what?
Well, if you're on a flat surface, you're probably not going to be struggling with a front or back dead center thing near as much. But you can find other positions, if you're having a limit by the valve, sometimes you can kick the slack of the train the other way, right? So, okay, I'm in complete tension. I'm trying to pull really hard. That's why I'm experiencing this. I can horse it backwards, and I can give myself a little slack and then try and gently but firmly get going and then take up the slack easily.
You only need 2 or 3 inches of movement to get the wheel out of the top.
Just enough. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay. That seems like it would be a really terrible situation. Okay, so real life question: how many times has Heist top dead centered an engine?
Oh God, it happens all the time, and you have to.
It's just a regular occurrence.
This is a regular occurrence because you got to remember the way that we operate at the museum. We're starting in close to a 28-degree curve, so sharp curve that binds you on a up to 3.5% grade uphill. with
Right.
smaller engines, with lots of cars behind them, just to make the capacities we need to do. And
Right,
so
I saw your video. You said you had 200,000 pounds of cars.
yeah, and that's not
Is that
including the people.
That's not including people weight.
Yeah.
So presumably you have another 50,000 pounds in people.
Yeah.
If you've got 300 people on the train.
So
300 people
it
times
adds up
200
very
pounds
quick.
is 60,000 pounds, just like that.
Yeah, our capacity is actually only like 140, I think, across the 5 cars.
Okay,
there.
so even
But
still 140, you're still at 20,000 pounds of people.
it is significant, yes.
You know.
So the interesting thing is you think about it, and you think about the way you stop to have good train handling, and it becomes very clear why you tend to stop centered. Because
Right.
the engine, when is it putting out the least power? When it's only on one
centered.
side. You know, when
Right.
you've centered the one side. And so if you're coming with the brakes set, and you're coming into the station, and you're trying to work it to a nice smooth stop with a lot of tension, when's it gonna stop if you've got a decent amount of brakes behind it, right when you're centered? So you have to
Right.
kind of grab it right before it wants to stop, or pull through just past, and it can be very challenging to get that exactly right, and that's a skill that takes a long time to develop. So it still happens to me every now and again, but I've definitely got to the point where I can pretty regularly miss that unfortunate bit.
Interesting thing. I actually learned about the whole top dead centering thing when I was a very small child. Not in terms of steam locomotives, but just in terms of the operation of a piston crank mechanism. Because it's essentially what if you think your car is anything special, it's not. It's the same technology as a steam engine, just with a different explosive fuel.
And a bunch of plastic on top of it.
And a bunch, yeah, right. But at the end of the day, you're using steam pressure from a boiler with a valve, right? And that's moving a piston. So you've got a 2-piston system, right? And a car engine being, let's say, like a V6 or a V8 is essentially the same thing, except instead of the steam expanding in a separate chamber, you're expanding it in the chamber itself. So you put in a liquid fuel, a liquid air mix fuel, which is actually vapor. And then as you ignite that, it goes through rapid expansion inside the cylinder, and that's what causes the cylinder to move.
Exactly.
Right? And then do this 3,000 times per minute. And 6 different cylinders in a sequence, and boom, done, you have a car engine. It's the exact same technology, just applied differently.
And the centering issue becomes so much less because you have more cylinders, and you're also
more cylinders,
running them so much faster, and you've got cam and everything
faster, and you have a big heavy flywheel that is much, much heavier than the cylinders themselves. So once you start the flywheel in motion with the electric starter, she's gonna keep spinning in that direction for a long. And then you have the other thing where you have a transmission, the gears aren't they're not always engaged. You have a neutral gear, etc., right? There's a lot of other things cars have. But anyway, back to the point of high dead center. My mom had an old Singer sewing machine, right?
Right.
And if you remember the old sewing machines, they had that foot pedal thing. And it was actually a simple system. It was basically a tilting platform on the ground that you put both your feet on, and you would roll your ankles forwards and backwards. And as you rolled your ankles, they were connected with a little wire, stiff wire rod, to this basically a crank on a big flywheel, which then ran to a pulley to the sewing machine. And the interesting thing about the Singer sewing machines is when we were kids, you don't leave the belt connected because you don't want to, injure somebody or whatever. So the wheel, you could just go underneath it and just push the thing, and it would just free spin the wheel. So we very quickly learned that if you just apply straight power to the wheel and don't alternate your power, it'll get stuck. If you just open it, if you push down as hard as you can, it'll just want to go to the top dead center point and sit there. So you have to regulate your power, which is essentially the same thing you're doing with the throttle of a steam engine.
Exactly.
You have to pull it on full and then let it off, and then pull it on full and let it off, so it doesn't want to get to that stuck position. It wants to ride past it, and then you give it power again.
Yeah. The interesting thing on the steam side as well is a lot of it is about mitigating the slip too, because you're controlling the steam delivery to the cylinders with that delay. And the throttle is far from a precise instrument. You can see how far you're moving the rod, which translates to a certain amount that the actual plug itself, the throttle plug, moves. But there's no, I know exactly how much steam is flowing. There's no gauge. There's no way to tell. There's nothing like that. And so you cannot get, this is how much steam I'm using at this speed. It's always going to try and keep building on you until you gain that speed. So at slow speeds, there is no real practical throttle setting that will not end up leading to a wheel slip for you, because you're going to keep charging boiler pressure through, and as soon as it gets there, the wheels will spin, and then there you go. So you really need
spin
to
until the pressure gets bled out through the cylinders.
Precisely, and if the throttle's still open, it'll keep the slip going, and sometimes it can be quite dangerous and volcanic, and I mean, it can ruin the fire, it can ruin the running gear. It's really bad. Slipping the wheels is not great, as much of a fun show as it can put on sometimes. And so you're really trying to mitigate that, and that's where a lot of the open close jerk goes, because there's no setting for this is how much it goes. You learn to feel, okay, if I open it this far for this long and then slam it, you know, it's not going to slip on me. I know the engine. I have the feel for the engine, and it's different for every locomotive out there, because every pipe's different, every valve's different, every crank's different, all these little things.
It would be different. It would feel different even on two locomotives that are built the exact same way.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just slight manufacturing differences would just mean, who knows? Like, it's, yeah.
Yeah, so
rather interesting.
The fun, interesting thing where this gets even more challenging in some respects is with later locomotives that are superheated. So like
and superheating is where you take the boiler pipe and you run it back through the firebox to get it hotter.
Yes. So you take,
it goes out.
You run the steam from the steam dome where the throttle is, so where your safety valve's popping off and the whistle's located in railroads online. That is your steam dome, so all your steam lives in there. Or not all your steam, but that's the top point, and that's where the throttle is. That sends down the dry pipe, and then when you get to the smoke box on a superheated engine, they split it up into a bunch of little pipes that then run inside the flues, where where your exhaust gases go, and you basically take the steam, which is at about, you know, maybe 400 Fahrenheit for a 200 psi locomotive, and you increase it to like 700 or 800 Fahrenheit. So you get a lot more expansion and a lot more efficiency out of it. But what you've also done is you've like doubled or tripled the amount of piping between your control and when it gets to the cylinders. And so
and changing temperature in that time too, so it'll be like it'll build in pressure, wouldn't it, inside that piping then?
It doesn't build in pressure because it's no longer a mixture of water and steam. It's just steam, so it's straight superheated steam at that point. But
so it just gets hotter, and then as a result generates more energy on
it
the
expands a lot more from that same volume, which is why it's so efficient, and why almost every modern steam locomotive in the United States had superheat of some variety. But without having a more modern throttle, which is called a front end throttle, it can be a little interesting to learn, because you're basically talking about a 3 or 4 second delay if you're not already having steam flow through. Right. So when you first crack the throttle open, it is a long time, and it's really funny because you'll feel the engine start to heave, and you need to slam the throttle shut, else you're going to do a 60-mile-an-hour burnout for a couple seconds.
When you first fire up any of your engines from like a dry start, so there's no steam in the line going all the way to the cylinder, you're basically, because once you have the line filled with steam, as long as you keep the throttle open a little bit, you can keep the line filling at a constant enough rate, and that'll constantly go out the cylinders and all that nonsense. But when you're starting from a dry start, so do you go like full throttle and then instantly off just to start getting the line kind of primed up, or do you just kind of go on easy, or does it depend on the engine? Like, how do you feel that out?
You tend to take it a little easy. You don't really need to get to full throttle, and if you were to do that, a lot of times you'll cause a slip sooner than you'd expect. So you tend to kind of open it up enough so that you see, on our coal burners, you see the snifters shut. The snifters are a little gravity-operated valve that sits by the valve itself in the steam chest, and they prevent vacuum from building up as you're drifting. And so, because if you have vacuum, then you're sucking exhaust gas and cinders and things into the engine, which is bad. We don't like our rings being ruined.
They just open with gravity.
They open with gravity, close with pressure. So you open the throttle and you'll hear the engine go, and you'll see the plume of steam.
Those basically bleed the entire line from your throttle to the steam cylinder.
Correct. Yeah.
So if you're coasting for long enough, wouldn't they just open when you're coasting?
They do. That's the whole point of them. Because if you're coasting,
and it's just bleed all the pressure out. So then when you get back on the throttle after coasting, it'll take a while to fill the line again. You're just back at that.
It's a lot less time than you think because of the pressures.
Right.
But, you know, it is maybe half second or a second on the small engines or something to first prime it open, but it's not something you really notice. But the snifter, I mean, they're extremely important because if you're coasting and you don't have one, an engine, there are other ways to get around this that other engines that don't have snifters do. But you still have stuff in the smoke box that is now being tried to reverse suck into the blast nozzle and go into the valves. And I mean, how is coal grit for your rings and your piston liners? You know, I mean, it's not ideal.
I'm at the helper station, by the way, if you want to come.
Are you seriously?
Yep.
I am almost done loading cordwood. I have 3 more cars to load.
I had a nice slow leisurely drive too, like 20% reg, not even like trying to push it, just chilling, you know. It was great. I'll boot up I'm getting the Class 48 fired up though, and I'll get it pulled out onto the main.
Okay, well I just teleported to you. I mean, I could go.
Oh, okay, perfect. Well, here you go. You can take the Class 48. Okay. Have a good day, sir.
Okay. Well, we'll do that and get up the hill here.
Put some fire in it. We're gonna have to bring wood up here at some point, but that's okay. Future problems.
Indeed. So
we'll just bring a tender up from another engine, unload the one tender into it, and then
that'll be the move. So I was talking in the comments recently, and apparently both headlights of the Class 48 were just removed as a part of the winter update.
Okay. But they left the flame.
So I
Oh no, the flame's gone today. There's no flame today.
Okay, interesting.
Oh, you can turn it on and off. Look at this. If I click and drag where the headlight's supposed to be, I can turn on the eternal flame. Hold on, can I give you a front flame like Rudolph? Let me see. Oh, I can. Look at that. You've got a front flame
Look at
now.
that.
That is amazing.
Go the red-nosed 060.
I don't understand. Hold on, I gotta put the bar up. I don't understand why you have no light though. I don't know why it needs to be. The back one I can understand. It was kind of in the way when you're standing here.
Right, but like, why remove the lights but leave the shelves? Like, you wouldn't have those shelves if you didn't have the lights.
Well, this is the decapitating shelf. Can you not tell? Like, look, it's my head on a plate.
There it is. It's on the platter.
It's on the platter. All right.
I need to climb back up. I fell off.
You fell. Wow. Okay.
I know, life's hard.
I think we should make this in one.
I hope so. It's 6 cars. I'm still probably coming up to temp. We could send it, but
we can just send it. I'm full reg. We'll make it. You'll get up to temp before, right?
One can hope.
You got such itty bitty drivers.
Yep, they're scooting quick.
But dang, they powerful.
Well, we get spicy Glenbrook. Who knows?
Yeah, we're getting up to some spicy. The Glenbrook's tender, man, does not like Glenbrook.
It is scary.
Okay, the tender is freaking out compared to everything else.
I have heard legends that apparently the Cookie 280, the new Cook,
the big one,
you can run it. It does something like 23 mile an hour. It's a little slower than the Glenbrook apparently, but apparently you can just leave it unattended and it will just continue to go.
That's good. It's called the Constitution, isn't it, or something like that? Or
Consolidation, yes.
Consolidation.
A 280 Consolidation.
I accidentally called it a mogul in my video, and then I was like, oh god, I gotta post a comment real quick and let people know it's not a mogul because I'm dumb.
Right. It's Consolidation, not a mogul. Come on, Con.
Yeah. Yeah. And is that just a, I don't really know the naming convention. Is every 260 a mogul, or is that just their...
that is just the name of the class. Most every
260s.
Most every arrangement of wheels out there also has a name. Some of them have multiple because some railroads were a pain in the butt. Like the 484 arrangement, depending on who you talk to, is a bunch of different names. So,
okay. What's the most ridiculous wheel combination you can think of off the top of your head?
Oh god, the commenters are going to have a field day with this because there are some very wacky ones out there. The wackiest that comes to mind right here, right now, is the Russians had a 414-4 that they ran.
414-4.
14 drivers, 7 coupled.
All unarticulated 14
Unarticulated 414-4.
How do you get, like, what's the sharpest corner you can take? Is like, what, 1 degree? Like, how do you even do that?
They only made one of them for a reason.
You could never take a corner on that thing. Like, it would need, unless it had just a bajillion blind drivers, I guess, but then it would hang off the rails. Like, the thing is...
Yeah, it was pretty ungainly. It's a neat locomotive, but it had a cousin or a kindred spirit in the United States that was a 412-2 that the Union Pacific had, and they actually had 87 or 88 of those locomotives. I think it was 9.
So
they
12
actually
drivers.
12 drivers.
Obviously gives you more tractive effort.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Well, more adhesion, which allows for more tractive effort to be put down, but yes.
And that's the only reason to do it. Like, there's no, it's just we want more pulling power on this choo-choo, so let's put more drivers.
More wheels, it helps. Yeah, the funny thing was they tried either early Malleys or early articulated engines, and they didn't like them at first because the tech wasn't quite there. And so they said, okay, well, we'll just make a really big, F-off locomotive like that. And so they made this huge class of 412-2s, and they primarily ran them in Nebraska for a reason. So
it's ridiculous.
Pretty straight lines.
Flat, open straight lines, yeah.
All right, we got to line some switches here.
17 million pounds, because why not, right?
Yeah. They also had 3 cylinders, so they actually did pretty good. I got the switch. We're not going to the coal mine. Hooray!
That's good. You got to flick the next one so we go to the runaround track.
Okay.
Because I can just... I got to flip my engine, actually, is what I got to do.
You got to spin, and I got to go back down and go continue my cordwood madness, so...
Yeah, that's true, and we'll see who makes it to the smelter first.
Somehow I still think it's going to be you.
Probably. This configuration actually works quite well with the helper, because I can just keep coming up behind you on this runaround and then park the cars and then follow you off, and then you just keep going, and then I wait until you're gone, and then I go to the turntable, which is in a weird position. Who put the turntable there?
I don't know, some guy.
Bruh. The turntable's messed up.
I didn't put it there.
No, I know. I think it's spawned like that, but that's what
the position is physically aligned. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it spawns like 90 from the freaking. It doesn't matter. It's fine. All right, so we're gonna do that.
That 10% line. That really. It doesn't even look like 10%. It's ridiculous.
It looks pretty aggressive, doesn't it?
I know it does, and I know last time we were talking about maybe a Heisler. But after looking at the tonnage calcs,
we did the math. It doesn't work.
We need climaxes because
we need multiple climaxes.
We need climaxes. Yeah. We thought about
the helper station is going to be one of those. We need 3 engines to pull one small train up the hill to the coal mine.
Yeah. So we thought about doing a run to the coal mine, just to okay, let's run a train to it. Class 48's good for 51,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Betsy's good for 11,500. The Glenbrook's good for 9,600. And the Montezuma's only good for 2,100 pounds. So it's like...
You might as well not bring it.
You might as well not bring it.
It's not helping the situation. It's probably going to... It's a theoretical 2,100. It's probably negative once you incorporate track friction and corners and all that.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, if we put 3 engines together, we're going to be good for... maybe 70-ish thousand pounds, and just to run
Climax is good for 100,000 on its own, right?
Climax is 106,000 pretty much by itself.
Yeah, so we need multiple climaxes at the helper station if we want to consider doing 8 cars at once up the 10%.
Yeah, it's gonna be too much of a slog otherwise. We decided that we should get some money and then maybe we'll go to the coal mine once we have a little bit more money and we have another helper engine.
But to be honest, the coal mine is kind of useless right now anyway, because the coal mine for us right now, we need to supply it to the ironworks, which we don't even have connected.
Yep.
So it's not really like a useful industry.
It's a lot of work. The rest. It would be a lot of work to run a short coal train to the freight depot ultimately, and we'd literally make more money supplying iron to the smelter at less work right now.
And ideally, we don't want to waste coal by selling it to the freight depot. We want to use all our coal to only supply the ironworks, which in turn will give us better products to sell. So, like tools and all that nonsense.
Yes, when we get real clicking on Crane Simulator 1895.
But don't worry, guys. We'll eventually, I think once we've connected all the industries, we'll have to go back and make another coal route that goes through that calm valley on the far side. Yeah,
doing a real track, not this madness.
So that way, if we feel like we want to run 40 hopper cars, we can do it, and not... There's no way we'd ever take 40 up the 10%. That's just silly. That's just stupidity at its finest.
a climax is only going to be good for like 7 or 8 empties by itself.
Yeah, with a road engine, you could probably get the 8 on its own.
So it's
and then yeah.
Not a great alignment we built, but it's fun, so you know it's fine.
Man, you know what? I don't know about you, Heist. I'm having a blast. Okay, so I don't really care what you say about the.
Oh no, I agree. This is fun. This is the way that I play this game. I don't like to do the super long winding routes. I don't like the idea of switchbacks. I like the idea of doing.
I am gonna build a switchback on this server at some point. Don't worry, I'm not gonna tell you when it's gonna happen, but at some point in time, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna build one. I've already thought about it. I'm gonna clickbait the video with I built a secret switchback and didn't tell Heist. 100%. And then I'm just gonna be like, surprise, we're taking the switchback route today.
Yeah.
I hate you so much.
So you're gonna clickbait it that way. And I'm gonna clickbait it with Colin makes me explode because you're gonna make me irrationally angry.
I've thought about it. I've looked up switchbacks. I know where I want to build one, so it's going to happen.
I'm
gonna
glad.
Be great.
I am excited to come unglued at you because it'll be funny.
It's gonna be like 3% switchbacks. That'll be it. So you're switching back a lot of different 3% lines over and over again. It'll be terrible. I can't wait.
Yeah. No, I prefer to take the Uinta approach and just do lots of drugs and consume too much alcohol and then design my railroad. I think that's
just do it 10%, man.
It's the best way. It's 10%. Just
that's what this 10% roller coaster.
Uncle Rico could throw a football over them mountains. We can run a train over them mountains. Okay.
Yeah,
that's how this works.
Yeah, man, this 10% line, it was definitely a creation out of madness, that's for sure.
Yeah. Madness? This is the crap.
Yeah, I don't, it doesn't matter though. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
How are you doing? You loaded yet? Have you finished loading?
I got back to, I've got 1 cordwood loaded on 2 of the last 3 cars. So
you have 3 cars left to load or 2 cars?
Well, I'm loading, there's 3 cars that are not full and 2 of them are in process at the moment.
I am currently turning my train around.
This is clicking on Crane Simulator 18.5.
It's actually interesting. You could turn this around full. With the way this is set up, you could drive in to the industry, load the cars in forward, and then turn them around after the fact once they're full. You'd have enough space to do that, but
if you built a reverse loop or a Y or something, or what do you mean?
No, I mean, I have enough space where the iron mine loads.
Oh, you can drive in, load everything, then back out.
Yeah, and then turn around after the fact, but this works just as well. So now I'm just going to back in with the empties, and then I can drive straight out when I'm done. But, I could have done it the other way as well, and it would have had the space.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah. It's interesting. Unloading you can't, though, because it's so little space to unload.
Yeah. Those beam cars get stuffed up there pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, they really didn't leave you a lot of space at the iron mine, that's for sure.
In previous layouts of mine, I've done curves right at that unloading platform, and you can make a pretty sharp curve, but you can get around and then not run into the cliff wall, but it's really not ideal. It's not a great location.
Yeah, I agree. I actually like the fact that we're playing this more legitimately, though.
I agree. It's
with the exception of the 10% bridge, I feel like that wouldn't have been built. But
it's fine.
This 0.5% bridge also might not have been built. Everyone's like, you probably should have just started climbing from the smelter directly, and it's like, yeah, that's probably how they would have done it.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you're correct, but also no, you're not.
But also, who cares? But the way that the industries are set up, more like actual shunting areas, it just makes me very happy.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun once we get enough engines to really do some serious ops. Because right now it's we don't have enough cars and engines to really make that make sense right now.
No, we're still broke. We're very broke.
Yeah, we need to get unbroke and then get crazy. Let's see. I'm going to see if I could dual load this cordwood car. I don't know if I got it spotted right.
Oh, right in the middle of the, yeah.
Nope, I'm just single loading it. It's fine.
All right, I am loading up iron shortly here. Gonna start the loading process. Okay, I hope this isn't a problem. I might need to do a real quick check here. Oh boy. Well, it's a good thing we couldn't afford 8 cars.
Do we only have 70 iron or something?
No, we have 90 iron. We got enough iron, but if we were doing, like, on this lane, as it stands now, I can probably load 8 cars, actually. I probably have enough space to push 2 more back, and then that's it. And then I would have to split the empties in half and load it in groups of, like, 4.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because it's like, I think the lane could fit 8. I'm pretty sure I could fit 8 total. That's kind of crazy, though. It's like, we're almost at the limit, but anyway. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can count to 10.
Look at you.
That's so good.
I'm up to I think day 465 of asking for upgradable cranes.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, the cordwood's a pain. At least you can glitch out the mines and make them go fast.
Yep, almost there. One more. Almost there.
Oh my god, this train doesn't stop, bro. With 1 loaded, do I not have brake pressure? Like, what's going on? No, I got brake pressure. It was literally just... Oh, the brake wasn't applied. That's weird. I was sworn I applied.
There are some weird UI problems when you go to full or completely off. Sometimes it doesn't register.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't recognize it. Gotta double check my brake before I get out.
All right, Montezuma. Yeah, train's heavy. So I'm debating now in my head. Do I send Montezuma down and I teleport to the sawmill and line my switches? And just trust that it doesn't derail?
I mean, that's only like a 1.5. Maybe if you put it at like 20 or 30% reg.
It's 9 cars. I'm leaving it wide open. Okay.
Okay, well, you might be going back down the track after a couple minutes and wondering where Montezuma is.
It's fine. It's fine. We'll send the MOW crew out on the high rail to go chase it, see if they can find it.
Although, to be honest, when I was testing the snowplow, I used Montezuma for that, and I kept it wide open, and it didn't derail.
Yeah, I don't think Montezuma's speed got updated, so I don't think...
Yeah.
I mean, with the 1% down and all those cordwood cars, maybe it'll be a problem, but I'm probably going to be able to teleport back to it.
Play life risky. See, this is the problem. See, I'm pretty sure everyone goes to Colorado Railroad Museum, they're like, you know, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're here at the Colorado Railroad Museum, and we're going to bring you on the Polar Express. Now, just a warning, we have Heist driving the locomotive today, and he likes to, quote, send it, end quote. So, buckle your seatbelts, kiddies. This is going to be a wild ride.
This here's the wildest ride in the wilderness. Yeah, basically. No, it's a stark contrast between what do you do when you play video games and what do you do when you do the real thing, because it's like, you're so cognizant on the safety and you're so focused and it's so like cerebral to be operating things like that. So it is really honestly nice to just get to play a video game, drink a beer, and wreck the train. Like, just not care. It's a lot of fun.
I disagree entirely. I play video games like very realistic, okay? I like to, really imagine myself in the experience. I play every game in VR with a full motion tracker and a, so it's like, and I have a series of boxing gloves around me that'll hit me depending on how the character in the game. So when I fall down a mountain, man, holy cow,
you're getting beat to death.
Yeah, I get hammered by these boxing gloves, So that's, I play the full experience.
I've seen fun setups where people like set up airsoft guns for their shooters, so like when their character takes damage, they get shot by an airsoft gun and it stings really bad or something, and it's like, I guess it adds the extra incentive, but unless all the enemies in the server are getting it, like,
what? Yeah, no, I'm not with that.
There have been some fun moments. Like we don't like truly send it at the museum because it's against the rules and we don't. But there are some times when it's like, okay, well we're doing a double header and we're putting on a show or something, and you'll be in the second engine and you'll lean out and there'll be a big grin on the first engineer's face and he'll just kind of nod up and down at you and you go, okay, we want to go a little faster this time, and A little faster is like 12 miles an hour, but it feels like light speed.
There's no speedometers or anything. Like, there's no way to know your speed. You just kind of go for it. Have you clocked them with like a radar gun or something ever? Or
We've had GPS. We've never had a radar gun, but people's phone GPS for speed sometimes.
Right.
Me being the musician that I am, I calculate how many beats per minute the chuffs are and how fast it is based on the wheel diameter.
Right.
Because you get 4 chuffs per revolution, so for every 4 beats, you get 1 wheel rotation, and then based on the circumference of the wheel, you know how far it's moved. And so I know precisely that the speed limit for 491 for the best care of our track is 8 miles an hour. And 8 miles an hour in 491 sounds like bum, 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 bum. That many beats. So you can do that math with any engine. It's fun.
Like, that seems really slow when you think about 8 miles an hour, but I'm sure it feels like a rocket ship when you're moving around a giant mess of steel.
Yeah, 8 mile an hour, I mean, it still feels a little slow in 491, because you really start to feel fast when you start getting the kinematics of the locomotive going. Like,
right.
346 with her little 36-inch drivers, when you get going about 17, 18 miles an hour, it is like, oh my god, this is the fastest I've ever gone in any vehicle ever. Because she's dancing all over the place, she's hunting really hard, because she's only got the lead flange and the number 4 flange, the 2 middle drivers are blind, and she's just sitting there bouncing around the railroad, trying to just buck everyone off like it's a horse. Then that's a very different experience from RGS 20 going even 18 mile an hour. 20 wants to go fast. I've been going like 24 mile an hour in her at the Cumbres and Toltec, and it's like, this is as legally fast as we can go right now, and it is awesome, and she just wants to go faster. So It just depends. But I mean, yeah, the first time out on the road and just listening to the chuffs like that, the first time I fired for that, it was like, oh my god, what is this?
Railroads Online, in terms of video games, Railroads Online has the issue just because of software, where it'll kick you off the track if you go too fast. But in real life, like, track conditions would still determine your top speed, but presumably if you had a big, flat, open, completely perfectly flat, straight section of track, like, nothing is going to cause these engines to derail, right? If they go full speed, like, you could just, once you get to full forward, full regulator open, full speed ahead, like, nothing would theoretically just cause it to launch, like they wouldn't ever be powerful enough to yeet themselves off the track, right? Like,
so long as the track is, maintained and surfaced properly and everything, like all the tires are in good shape, all the spikes are tight, all that stuff. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Like, you could theoretically just send the engine till it runs as fast as it can.
So it's always a track limitation on an engine's speed, basically, is what it is with these things.
Pretty much. I mean, you do run into a issue with the engines themselves where the pistons will be trying to change direction so fast, and the weight is so much, and the inertia is so much that you'll start to break components. So there is definitely the engine starts to vibrate itself to death kind of thing, which is, that's why top speed is related to driver size pretty significantly. But yeah, you could take any engine to that limit or, just below it to be safe if you had perfect bullet straight track that was really well maintained and leveled and everything.
It's interesting. And I don't know, I'm sure it wasn't a freight engine, but top speed of an actual steam locomotive. There's got to be some record held by some locomotive somewhere. I mean, not necessarily narrow gauge, but... The
record that is out there for a steam locomotive that is published in Guinness and everyone accepted is 127 miles an hour. Might be 126, I can't remember. The comments will correct. On a steam locomotive, it was the British A4 class Mallard that did it, and us in the States always joke that it was downhill with a tailwind.
And yeah, because that makes the biggest difference is the downhill tailwind.
Right.
Part.
So the funny thing is that there's about a zillion undocumented, documented but not official records of trains in America, particularly on the Pennsylvania and New York Central railroads, doing 140 miles an hour, based on eyewitness accounts, engineer accounts, and things, but they never pulled a true dynamometer car behind it like the British did, so the record's never really been official. So Mallard's record has been the official one for all these years.
And what kind of an engine is it? What's the designation of it?
So the Mallard is a 462 Pacific.
A 462?
Yes. Yeah, big drivers.
Open cab at 120 miles an hour? Like, it's just
No, it's actually pretty streamlined. I'll have to show you a picture later. It's a really weird looking steam locomotive.
Okay. Interesting.
For the American speeds,
it was a purpose built. We're gonna try and break the record with this engine.
No, it was just one of the Pacific type engines designed to run fast for fast passenger trains, and Britain actually regularly had like 90 and 100 mile an hour passenger trains back in the day with their steam trains. So I mean, it was, you know, not uncommon, and I don't know what actually spawned the desire to see and hauling the dynamometer car and actually going for the record kind of thing, but definitely interesting
someone
thing.
Traveled to the States and they traveled to the States and they rode on one of those 140 mile an hour trains, and then they were like, we gotta just set the record officially before.
Maybe
that's how it happened.
One of the neat things is that one of the locomotives that was, you know, in the mythos of doing 140 miles an hour in the States is a locomotive called the T1, Pennsylvania Railroad T1, and it's a 4444. So duplex 4444. So it had two sets of engines with 4 drivers each.
Two sets of cylinders.
2 sets of cylinders, but it's not articulated. So it's all one solid frame. It doesn't pivot.
Right. But it's still one boiler.
One boiler.
One steam cap, one throttle.
Yes, precisely.
And then it just splits after the throttle to 2 separate lines that go evenly to the front and the back.
Yep.
And they must be completely identical length lines, otherwise you'd run into the differential problem.
They may actually not be exactly the same, because I mean, it ultimately, once flow starts to happen, it just kind of is what it is, and it does what it does.
Right, but then presumably if they're not the same, you'd run into kind of like the differential problem with cars, where the load's going to go to the closest thing first.
Well, you're ultimately restricted by the valves anyway, so you'll end up stacking up almost always.
Oh, it'll deliver pressure to one, and then the wheels won't move, and then until the wheels move. So then, but the wheels on that 4.4, they could fall out of sync with each other. Oh,
absolutely. That's the case on any duplex, any articulated, anything like that.
And then when they do, like, that just happens.
That just happens, and maybe it's a little slip, maybe it's not. It doesn't really matter.
So what do you do if you have 4 wheels slipping and 4 that aren't? You're just like,
you still have to shut the throttle back. There's a great clip from an old film that the Union Pacific did talking about the big boys called The Last of the Giants. And there's a great clip of the front engine just doing its thing, putting out the yard 4 mile an hour, and then the rear engine set's doing like 50 miles an hour in place. It's like, okay, pinch it back down there, buddy.
And what, the big boy was a 280 or something?
4884.
A 4884.
Yes.
It's a monster.
Huge locomotive. I mean, they're mind-blowing. If you ever come visit me down in Denver, we have one on display in Denver. Not at my museum.
They were narrow gauge or they were standard gauge?
They were standard gauge. Very much so.
Yeah.
So, huge locomotives. Certainly very impressive as well. Not actually the biggest or most powerful, but definitely probably the most notable in terms of people know of them most commonly. But yeah.
Well, I mean, I've heard the name Big Boy. I never actually have seen one in person, I don't think, or ever really
Yeah, everyone knows the name Big Boy, but there's plenty of engines that were more powerful. There are plenty of engines that were heavier, plenty of engines that were bigger.
What's the size of the driver on one of those things?
They're 68-inch, so 5'8".
Jesus.
Which is relatively, that's a medium-sized thing, and that's for more attractive effort for freight.
Though.
The big fast engines had 80-inch drivers. Some of them had 84, so 7-foot tall drivers. Our biggest engine,
your driver goes past the boiler, right? Like at that point, your boiler's in between the drivers, or do they let the boiler they just mount everything higher up?
Well, the standard gauge engines are 16 to 17 feet tall usually. So yeah, I mean, either the boiler's over or somewhat pocketed in between the space of the drivers, depending on the engine. And I'm shoving
when that size of an engine though is going full steam, the fire must be just monstrous.
The size of the firebox in the big boy is absurd. I mean, you can fit.
You'd have to just be one guy shovels coal,
There is an Archimedes screw that feeds the coal from the tender to the engine.
With a screw?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's called a stoker, and it's a steam engine that runs an Archimedes screw that then runs it to an elevator screw, which puts it on a big table at the back by the fire door. And then and then you have a V-shaped arrangement of valves that are steam jets that blow the coal off of the table all across the firebox to wherever they need to go. Oh, hi, friend.
Sir?
Hi.
Are you empty?
No, I accidentally pulled into the wrong chunk of the yard, and the brakes are hard.
We're showing up at rather opportune times. How's it going?
Yeah, hey. Oh my goodness, I still need to pull another half car forward. This is...
Oh, okay, I don't need to move then. You got space.
Yeah, I just need a half car. It's, the brakes on the Zuma are not great with this 9-car crown system, so... Look,
that's
another train.
I can't believe that like you'd have to have an automatic coal system then to something that big. Like you wouldn't have a choice.
Yeah. Most of the big standard gauge power had automatic coal delivery like that, or they were oil burning locomotives, and oil burning's a lot easier to figure out at that sort of scale.
Take a tender full of oil and just burn more and done. Well, so if you have an oil burner, right? Because I have like a natural gas water heater in my house, which is essentially an oil burning water heater, except it's natural gas. But the burning pocket for that is really small because all you need is a pipe that like kind of swivels back and forth inside a burning chamber, and that whole chamber is very, very small. Like it doesn't have to be very big at all. Now, obviously, we're not heating steam quantities of water, and we're not bringing it to the boiling point. But if you have an oil burner, like you wouldn't need nearly as big of a firebox, right? Like the firebox would shrink drastically in size, wouldn't it? Because
yes and no. The shape becomes a little different because with a coal fire, you're trying to have the right mass of firebed and the right airflow in to accommodate that firebed at a certain depth.
And smoke flow out so you don't choke the fire out.
Exactly, but with oil, it's hard for it to spread super far back and super long distances, so usually the oil-burning fireboxes are a little bit more square in profile, but they can definitely still be really big because they have a steam-powered atomizer at the burner that turns the oil into a small mist of oil and also forces it back towards the fire door so that you can have the fire occupy the whole firebox using steam power.
Interesting.
And that way, you have to have the heating surface.
Like they'd be burning oil that's much thicker than like anything like propane or gas or any of those natural vapors that we use for, like, barbecue.
Originally, most locomotives burned bunker C, which is basically sludgy grease. It is not any variety of anything that flows easily. It's actually,
if you look at like a normal propane barbecue, it's funny the way that you'll notice on the regulator, all the regulator is just an opening to allow more fuel, but then you'll notice before the barbecue there's like an opening in the pipe where it's literally just a pipe and a hole, and that's to suck oxygen in with the propane flowing by to like actually give it a burn. But with these oil burners, I guess they'd still create a draft and pull in oxygen from underneath, but they'd be like spraying oil into the firebox. So your firebox would really be like a cloud of oil just like going up in flames.
Sir.
Yeah.
I need to run around this train.
You need to run around this train.
Yeah. So you need to give me a little space.
Well, that's an interesting predicament, isn't it?
Well,
I'm on full brake. I just like to point that out.
Turns out cars are heavy.
I will back out. Are you gonna have space to pull 3 into that line with the Zuma?
I
pull Betsy out of the shed. You have to.
Think so. I guess I'll
try it with the Zuma. I guess you have to run around that train. Yeah, you also went to the unload line.
I realized that as I was going in, but brakes are so bad, so I'm gonna try and grab all 9 of them, and then stick them in a different lane from the other end. Hopefully.
Well, why don't you just come all the way forward and back into a different lane? That would be. Oh, you've already disconnected. Never mind.
Yeah, we're railroading here today. It's okay.
Perfect.
The amount of times.
Yardmaster.
Yeah. The amount of times crap like this happens on the railroad, not just on the crap, but on the real railroad. Like, we accidentally.
The Italian guy leaning out.
Yeah, basically. Angry hands. Yes.
Angry hands yelling at the guy who didn't put his train in the right spot. That's basically how that goes.
Yeah, it's very much a game of, first shift did this, and they left us with this. Now we have to fix it. They put these trains in the wrong place. Like,
can you tell Heist used to work on a railroad, guys?
That is how that goes.
First shift did it this way. It's wrong, so I don't want to do it anymore.
Oh my god. You're giving me...
I gotta rebuild the smelter at some point. After I saw your Y, I really want to put a Y here instead of the turntable. I think it would be cooler.
That would be neat. I imagine with the crossovers and stuff, we should be able to do that now. Put some 45-degree crossovers in it.
Head more into like the middle or something. I can put it off those 3 extra shunt lines.
Oh, that hitch actually worked. That's hilarious. But I undid it because it didn't work.
Are you pushing or pulling? What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to knuckle in still.
Oh, interesting. Our numbers now hang off the cars, not ruining my immersion at all.
Do they really?
Yeah, the text for the 306 actually hangs off the bottom.
Oh, I'm seeing. Oh, they're all doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because the text deforms to the old car models that deformed because they're loaded. But the new cars don't do that because
the new cars don't deform.
Because
so the text is because it's less squishy by crap and it's more squishy interesting.
Yeah, that's a little it's
my
immersion
heist. My immersion has been ruined.
It has been. The funny thing is I left it wide open because it's 9 cars.
I was like, why is this moving quick? And then I turn around and there's the,
there's the engineer because I didn't realize that you got my brake off for me.
I
left it not cheat. It was 9 cars. Okay, and we're going to start braking now. Brakes and forwards.
Let me know that. What's your plan here? Are you gonna you wanna go forward into one of these?
dude, yes. We'll stab it into one of the other ones. Dunk.
That worked well.
That was a dunk.
Oh my god.
That was a big dunk.
Jeebus.
That's fine.
All right, guys. Welcome to Railroads Online. Heist is Joe. You wrecked the Suba too. What's your plan now? Heist?
I'm gonna re-rail the tender out of the way.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna switch light engine, cause I don't know, cause I can't re-rail that there. Okay, well I'm gonna re-rail this cordwood car out of the way and make some space.
I just want to drop off my iron, man.
Dude, just line me into the second lane and go unload your iron, okay?
I can't do that because currently there's a train derailed on the main.
No, there's not. It's fine.
All right, you're in the second lane now. Oh my god, this is ridiculous.
Welcome to the railroad, my dude.
You know what? You can just work on unloading your cordwood. I'll leave my iron train parked. In the meantime, I'm gonna move Betsy and then I'm gonna move this engine shed because it's bothering me now and I want to fix it.
Okay, then go for it. I'm gonna kick these real quick.
I'll be back after these short messages. Once again, brought to you by Slacks.
Oh boy, Mickey's gonna have fun with this one.
Oh man, you know what? Like, I don't even know. Like, what would you advertise on old school trains? Is that a thing? Would they have like cars sponsored by so and so?
You know, I don't honestly know, but I would not be surprised.
Yeah, if it's just like so and so brought to you by like this guy.
Yep. So the funny thing in last episode for me was. I've been having my buddy Mickey do the edits on these so that I can help focus on some of the more regular train content and stuff. And he's done a great job, and he's had a lot of fun making extra memes that I would never have the time to put in. So, cheers to Mickey. But last time when you said sponsored by Slacks, he got some of the top members of my Discord and my channel to submit fake ads for pants. And stitched that into the episode, and I started dying laughing. It was hilarious.
Look at yourself. Now back to me. You're wondering why you don't look as good as I do. Now look at your pants, and now look at mine. It's because you're not wearing slacks. And you can get them at the Slack Company. Now look behind you. Now back to me. That's your train running away from you.
Slacks, for when you don't want to quite show off all your manhood.
What makes me a good pair of slacks? If I were a bad pair of slacks, I wouldn't be sitting here discussing it with you now, would I?
All right, are you finally done over there? I see you're...
Finally, yep. Finally looked at all the cars.
I tried to make a Y here because I didn't want a turntable anymore. Okay. And I really struggled, and then I couldn't fit it because it just doesn't have space. So I ended up with a turntable again, but we got a 4th lane. So ooh.
Well, hey, now that we've got 9 cordwood cars, though, I mean, they don't fit 9 to a lane, so...
Yeah, no, 4th lane, so that'll, that helps us, I guess. And then it still just splits off to an engine shed, and oh god, this line is really, really kinked. That is so bad. Hold on, let me fix that.
Con making the kinky track. How about that?
Well, I made it in sections. That was the problem. Now that you got bigger splines, you got to go back and make it in a single.
It's fine. It was fine.
All right, we're good. We'll just connect this up to there. There we go. That's so much better. But yeah, so we got our engine shed. We still have a turntable here. It is what it is. You got to go to the turntable. Turn around to leave the smelter. Actually, in this case, you don't. You just have to run around your train.
I do. I need to turn around, actually.
Wait, no, you do need to turn around.
Yeah, I gotta face the other way to go back to the freight depot.
Actually, we both have to. All right, I'm gonna come in now, and
yeah, you unload your iron. I need to go and turn around. So this actually, we're justifying the 4th lane right here, right now, where.
Because you did the runaround lane.
Yeah, I'm taking 2 lanes with the cars, and then you're gonna come unload on the 1st lane, and I'm gonna run around on the 4th lane.
All right, hear me out. Oh wait, no, my cars aren't coming back. Never mind. I'm going back to the freight depot, empty engine.
Yeah, just light engine.
Because the cars can just stay down here. Oh wow, you took so long. I'm cold. I am unbelievable.
You let your engine freeze, Con.
My fire is very LaSalle.
That's gonna get you fired from the railroad, probably. Letting an engine freeze in the cold. It's gonna cost you.
That's actually a thing.
It would be like if you left it for eons. It would take forever. You could definitely have like pipes and stuff freeze if you're not using them properly.
Right.
And actually, we.
Are you gonna just smash my train?
No, look, I'm stopped. Don't be scared, Con.
I was worried about clipping that next switch, because if you throw that next switch, then I'm, you know what I mean?
Then we would have been all over the place. That is true.
Yeah.
Spicy switching, okay? Spicy switching with ice. Come on.
Auto switching is a great idea, but it's scary at times.
We had we actually froze a pipe on the 491 during Polar Express because it was so cold out. We didn't run the engineer's side injector, and we ran it to start the day to make sure that it worked and everything when we were in the shop. But then when we were on the road, it was like -10 Fahrenheit, so really cold. And we didn't run it while we were out running, and then we went to try and use it between 2 of the shows, and it wouldn't flow. You wouldn't get water out of the overflow because the hose froze between the engine and tender, and it's like, oh, we need to make sure we're using that if it's this cold out so it doesn't freeze. So, I mean, you could have that sort of stuff happen more commonly. Actually freezing the boiler or something. I mean, it takes it a week to cool off when it's sitting in the shop till it's actually cold to the touch again, so you would be waiting quite some time.
All right, my 6 cars of crap have been unloaded.
That took you a lot less time. I wonder why.
I have $1,700.
Okay, well, that's good.
So now I gotta back up, keep this in one of the lanes. Actually, no, I could Dutch drop this into the lane it needs to go into. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna master the Dutch drop.
He's gonna do it, ladies and gents. I believe in you, Con.
I'm gonna master it. I got the fastest engine in the game. Right? I gotta just line the switches and then get out of the way. Because then, realistically, I'm already in the direction I need to go. I've turned around. Like, I'm already lined in the right direction.
Oh, yeah, you turned around at the Iron Ore Mine. So.
Iron Mine, right. So if I don't want to have to turn to do this. Actually, hold on a minute. We have Mr. Montezuma there. Excuse me, Montezuma.
Hello, friend.
I am going to go forward, and you can tow my coal cars and shove them into one of those lanes over there.
I could, but I also have to go get... I mean, then you could get on the cordwood cars.
I can pull the cordwood cars back out.
Okay, you do that. Okay, this is smarter. Work smarter, not harder. I see what we're doing here.
You're in the right direction to do this. So I'm going to brake here and leave these cars here for you. And just unhitch that. All right, have a nice life. They're not braked or anything, so I'll slow them all down to stop. There we go. Perfect. Now I'm going to get out of here. And then I'm going to do your cordwood alignment.
I think each cut has some brakes on, so you're gonna have to check the brakes.
Of course it does. What a guy.
Something securement, something.
Whatever.
You left a link in the last hopper here unnecessarily, sir, so I don't want to hear it.
I was probably linked on that side when I was going up.
Yeah, you probably were. It's fine.
I was, yeah, that's right. Alright, so we got, let's just link this one. Link and pin. That one's linked and pinned. Okay, let's go check this one. I can't believe this actually works out. This is actually kind of funny. And that 4th lane was needed. Wow, it's almost like we
planned this. We knew that this was going to happen just like this.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Oh man, Montezuma can feel how much heavier these cars are.
Montezuma just needs to go to the gym, okay? You know, and not skip leg day. You know what I mean? Like that's the issue that's happening here.
The real thing is the Montezuma's apparently got a factor of adhesion of like, I can't remember if it's 4.7 or 5.7, and you just
Right.
want a factor of adhesion of 4 to be able to use your tractive effort. And oh my god, the popcorning has just come in violently. I don't know what's going on, but these train cars are bouncing all over the place.
They look fine to me, so I think you're okay.
Well, that's good at least.
All right. Got your first 3 cordwood cars. This is wonderful.
All right, I'm lined up. I'm gonna punt these, and I'm gonna
That's
start
actually,
heading for
it's
the hills.
kind of funny how conveniently this worked out. It's
That
just
is
happened
funny.
to have an engine on the opposite side when you unload the iron
Yeah.
at the same time as the coal. That's interesting.
Okay, I've put like a 10% brake on this one car.
All right, I'm gonna pick up these guys, and then I can actually just pick them up and keep pushing all the way out.
Yeah, you should be able to. I need to clear the track first, but
Yeah, well, that was the other thing. And then if you push out behind me, you can just hook up to the front, and you know, we can double head this, even though we probably don't need to.
we could. Yeah.
Or you could try and stay on the track in front of me, and I could see if I can catch you, even though I'm.
I
pulling
bet you
9
can't
cars.
with the Glenbrook. I'm sure even if I left right now, you would still. Yeah. So I'm gonna punt
Yeah.
those cars, and I'm gonna go try and run away from you.
Yeah, good luck. Let me know how it goes. I'm probably already pushing out into the. There,
I left a
that's gonna-
10% brake on that one car, so if they don't hit the buffer, they'll stop. If they hit the buffer, they shouldn't roll back out too far. And hopefully they don't derail. I don't know. We'll see. It's spicy, okay?
Oh, you just pushed them and then you left them? Yeah, that'll be fine. They should be fine. I'm just gonna go through these and get rid of all the brakes. 0. Oh, that's it. That's all the brakes. Yeah, they hit the bumper, but they didn't go anywhere, I don't think. They look okay. Yeah, you better run.
I'm running. I'm going. Getting out of Khan's way. You got the Glenbrook, the speedy
All
boy.
right, here we go. 9 cordwood cars at 100%.
It's 9 cars. I left it not change.
9 empties, dude. I'm gonna fly. I'm not even gonna feel them.
Pretty much. Oh god, yeah, you're already at the throat of the yard.
How are you? Watch, I forgot to miss like a connection. I'm gonna stop and then.
And the other cars are just gonna go.
Yeah, hope not.
Yeah, you're zooming. It's annoying to me that Montezuma, Montezuma did not get its speed updated, because Montezuma's only saving grace is that it was fast.
Right.
And the fact that it's stuck at 17 and like the Glenbrook got sped up, it's just like, okay, well where's the zoomy boys day? Give me 30 miles an hour, or give me death.
All right, well, I'm lined onto the main now, so here we go.
I'll,
I'm at 100%, 0 brake.
send it. Here we go.
Yep. Gonna see. Are you even over the bridge yet? You're not crossing.
I'm
over
not
top
even
of me.
on the bridge yet, dude.
Oh goody. Oh goody. You're
I'm
supposed to be
back at the tail tracks of the 2 loading and unloading stations.
I am already at full speed.
Oh goodness. Well, if you're at full speed, you
is
might
like-
derail. Be careful.
Yeah, this is spicy. Like this is. I'm gonna go 55% reg. Oh. Oh God.
Pee in a cup. Pee in a cup. How much of a train explosion was there? I can't see. You're not rendered in on my end.
It was like literally on. It was on the like. I can't even tell. I only have 4 cars now. I don't know how. I don't know what happened to the rest. They may or may not still be on the track. We're not sure. There's a team that's investigating.
I see.
Okay, so good to know that you cannot just catch up.
You cannot say. I mean, you could catch up. You can go 22, and I can only go 17.
Oh, I have some cars still on the track. This is interesting. Some of them are. So I think I just lost. I have 3 more that are. So I lost a middle one. Link that, and they're still coming towards me.
Still not rendering on my end. I'm not sure where you are.
Oh, I only lost. Did I lose 1 or 2? I might have lost just 2.
What part of the track are you by the iron loading?
No, I'm like just below the ridge. Once you spiral around, you'll probably see me.
Oh yeah, I'm
I'm
starting
like-
to see cars pop in now.
I'm before the iron loading. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you up on that bridge?
So, yes, I am. So yeah, I see your 2 cars that are binned in the woods here.
Yeah.
One's
I lost
upside down and
in the middle, interestingly enough. Which
yeah,
is
that seems to be what happens. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And then yeah, you've got your bunched up group of 6. Yeah, okay, there you are.
yeah. So I'm just gonna re-rail this. Yeah. You're gonna have to slow down though and activate some switches. So there's
yeah.
still hope. There's still hope.
If you get right to 22 mile an hour and you don't derail, you could still potentially catch up because that's still almost 25% faster. It's 5 mile an hour faster, so maybe it's like 22% faster or something.
All right. These cars all look messed up.
I still got a long way to go.
My God, it's ridiculous. It's unfortunate that they increased the locomotive speed, but not the car derailing speed.
Yeah. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
I feel like the cars should be the thing that has the highest speed of anything.
Yeah, they should be good for that because it feels frustrating because you just derailed on straight perfect track. Like,
yeah, on
your
like
train
a really
just
nice
decided to go kapow.
And it's got like lots of trees, so it's really hard to actually see what happened. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
It comes from the way that the actual interaction between the trains and the track happens in the game. Because there aren't really wheels in the game. All the wheels you see are, animated. They're part of the models. But the actual interaction, it's like a sled.
Right.
And there's only 2 points for any car, any locomotive or anything. So, yeah, act a little interestingly.
All right, here we go. Trying this again. This time I'm not going to go 100% the whole way because that seemed silly.
I'm actually wondering if Kyume were to make the sleds be tapered like real train wheels, if the game's physics engine would help keep things centered better. Because the wheels in the game are not modeled with a taper profile, which is inaccurate, but the tapered profile helps keep all that centered up. And so if you made the collision model be tapered, I wonder if it would limit the amount of hunting there was.
All right, I'm only going 34% reg this time.
55 is too much.
Well, I was doing 100 and then I pulled it back to 55 and it was still too much.
Gotcha. So. I don't know how the reg works in this game. You may still hit top speed. It just may depend on like how long it takes you to hit it based on what the reg does.
Yeah, I'm up to 70% now because I hit the hill.
Oh yeah, 2% grade. It's not too much weight behind it though.
I was feeling it, so I brought it up to 70. But I'm actually like judging my speed based on the chuffs, so it's...
That's what you do. That or if it's a blur and you're running down the railroad, I mean, back in the day, that actually just count the telegraph posts, and the telegraph posts would be set at specific distance between them, so you could actually count how fast you're going based on how many you passed in a certain time.
All right, 50% reg. I was picking up chuffs per second.
Chuffs per second, man, CPS.
Yeah, it was increasing too much, so I was concerned, so I cut down the reg a little bit. 50 was too little though, so 66% now.
Execute regulator 66.
Like, are you already at the spot that goes to the sawmill?
Yes, I just lined the switch and continued to go.
Oh God, there's no way I'm catching you.
Probably not. It's fine. I'm gonna run home scot-free.
I would have had it, but I got too excited. I pinned it,
We're even on P-cups for this episode, so...
I killed like 3 people on those middle 2 cars. It is what it is.
It's fine, just squished them flat.
They're passenger cars, and there was a school bus full of children on the other direction. It was a field trip on a train.
Field trip on the train, and the runaway, yeah. It was 8 cars.
The runaway was going towards it, and just, it was nothing I could do about it. It was just... We make way too many Unstoppable references.
We really do. It's too fun. It is too fun to reference, though.
So your throttle on a steam locomotive is notched, right? Like it's a notched throttle as well, or is it just like a...
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. So there's a toothed quadrant that when you squeeze the handle, it moves basically some teeth off of the quadrant, and you can move the lever, but they're slopping the teeth, and they're slopping the lock, and they're slopping the rod, and they're slopping all the pins. And even in one specific notch, depending on how worn the teeth and the pins and everything are, you can get several different positions of throttle, and sometimes it works well for you and sometimes it doesn't, and there's no, I have this percent. The only things definitively are it's closed or it's wide open because it doesn't go anymore, or it hits something in the cab that means it can't open any further, so...
Is there any risk with the way that the throttle on the top is, as far as I understand, it's a big cylindrical thing that gets lifted up and down with a groove in it, right?
More or less. I've got a good video that I could show you later. That filmed on the channel.
Depending on how high, it's like a tap, basically, like a tap for your house. Depending on how high up the throttle is, determines how much steam could flow around it to get into the pipe, right?
Yes, but it's flowing from above and from below, so that it's theoretically balanced. It's called a poppet valve.
Right. So it's a big, like, concave, like almost like a concave yo-yo type dealio.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I understand that much. So on engines, there's no risk of, like, let's say your throttle rod pops completely off. Like, there's no risk of that throttle itself, like, it'll still be supported in that, or would it just, like, drop with gravity and open up completely, or...
So they design the two seats so that the top seat is slightly bigger, so that there's always theoretically steam pressure trying to close the valve, but not so much, because if it makes it so much, it makes it really difficult to open. And I've met some steam engines like that. But you open that up, and if you were to have some sort of failure, it'll try and close it. But everything's pinned and cotter pinned or flat keyed to make sure nothing can come undone.
Yeah, so there's no, like, risk of, like, you lose the throttle and the steam pressure blows the valve right out of the frickin' top, and then
they're so high up in the steam dome that once the lid's on too, I mean, you would be probably hard pressed to actually get the valve itself out of the body that the throttle is in. I mean, it would hit the top before it would actually, like, come out.
Interesting.
Well, I'm back at the freight depot, and I'm parking the Zuma in one of the shunt lanes here.
I'm coming up behind you. I'm only at, like, 30% reg, though, because I was scared. I increased it to 55 now. I'm realizing after this mission, I started with, like, 24-something beforehand, and now I'm down to 1,800. So clearly the money-making episode worked out real well.
Yeah, we've lost money because we bought trains, but buying trains...
bought trains and then made more money. So
buying trains brings happiness, so, I mean...
True, yeah, true.
That's always good.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I mean, we got more cars, which is good. The 9 cordwood cars is really going to help, I think.
Yeah, keep the throughput to the smelter ready so that we can run more stuff.
Yeah, cordwood like crazy.
And look,
well, yeah, there you have it. Let's. I'm just gonna park this right. I guess you want to shunt me to one of those lanes.
Sure.
Pick a lane for me. I got 9 cars, so.
Yeah, we should be able to stick in something else.
Lane.
We're managing to block one entire lane with just a caboose, which is hilarious.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. You can kind of punt it. I can kick it out of the way.
You could, but I'm gonna line you into the middle lane of the 5, I think.
Oh, perfect.
That'll be fine.
But yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. You know, more deliveries need to happen.
Yeah, we actually need to make money so that we can use the track that we built because of our own hubris.
Like $5,600, and so is the climax. So that's just cool.
It's gonna be spendy. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna need to spend some money. The good news is once we get a climax up at the helper station, we can take the class 48 to the smelter, and then we can take the Betsy to the porter back to the freight depot and just have it be, you know, a special little display or something. But either way, yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you check out Heis's channel. I'll put the link in the description. And we're just gonna park these trains and have a good one.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Catch y'all next time.
See ya.
Bye.